When most think of the Yakuza, they think of the more modern, tattoo-covered Yakuza you see portrayed in modern movies and videos. What many don't know is that the origins of the Yakuza date right back to the Edo period, during 1603 through to 1868. So what are the origins of the Yakuza, and who was the samurai that began it all? So, one distinct feature of Yakuza over the past decade have been their tattoos and symbols they uphold, many of which take inspiration from their samurai heritage. In fact, many of the modern Yakuza still practice yubitsumi, a Japanese ritual to atone for offences which see the offender chop off one of their fingers. So while the origins of the Yakuza are somewhat shrouded in mystery, and a lot of the history has been either lost or never recorded, we can make a pretty good case about the man who started the Yakuza, Jannai Yashira. For this story to really take shape, we have to travel back to the Sengoku period, a time of warring states had left the country fractured and chaotic. The Sengoku period, or warring states period, had torn the nation apart as feudal lords known as daimyos fought for control. Amidst this chaos, the samurai class rose to prominence as the elite warrior class, sworn to serve their lords with absolute loyalty and honour. As the power of the shogunate began to wane, so did the stability of the samurai's world. The unification of Japan under the Tokugawa shogunate in the early 17th century brought peace, but it also rendered many samurai obsolete. Without wars to fight or lords to serve, thousands of samurais found themselves without a purpose. These masterless samurai, known as ronin, roamed the land, often turning to mercenary work or becoming bandits. Jannai Yashira, a samurai in his early 30s, was one of many samurai that found themselves without work and without a clear purpose, since the society that they now found themselves in was much more stable and was slowly finding less and less need for samurai. It was during this time that some samurai found themselves with no little master. These samurai became known as ronin. So Yashiro, now ronin, wandered from village to village, offering his services as a protector. Despite his skills and honourable intentions, he encounters a society that increasingly saw samurai as relics of a bygone era. Desperate times led many to turn to crime, and Yashira was not immune to these pressures. During this period of social instability, groups of ronin and commoners began to form bands to protect their communities from the rising threat of banditry. These groups were known as the Makiyako, or city servants. Unlike the Hatamoto Yako, who were essentially organised thugs backed by the shogunate, the Makiyato were seen as defenders of the common people. Jannai Yashiro emerged as a leader among the Makiyako, recognising the need for organisation and leadership. He rallied a group of former samurai, peasants and merchants to stand up against the oppressive Yamamoto Yako. Under Yashiro's leadership, the Makiyako gained a reputation for their willingness to protect the weak and uphold a sense of order amidst chaos. As the Makiyako grew in strength and influence, their activities began to expand beyond mere protection. The need for funds to support their operations led them to engage in gambling, smuggling and other illicit trades. Yashiro, though initially hesitant, recognised the necessity of these activities for the survival and effectiveness of his group. This pragmatic shift marked the beginning of a transformation. The Makiyako, while retaining a veneer of honour and protection, gradually evolved into a proto-criminal organisation. Initially, they engaged in small-scale criminal activities such as gambling, loan sharking and protection rackets. But it wasn't long before the crew started growing at a rapid rate and began having a much higher level of influence both in the area surrounding them and on the people around them. Jannai didn't want to be operating a regular band of criminals, however. He still had the honour and loyalty instilled in him as a samurai, and so he introduced a code of conduct similar to the samurai code of Bushido, emphasising loyalty, honour and respect within their ranks. This helped to distinguish them from ordinary criminals and garnered a certain level of respect and fear within the local communities. It's with the growth of Jannai's group where some of the best stories emerge. This one in particular shows not only the strength and power that Jannai and the newly formed Yakuza held, but also the type of man that Jannai was. One of the most famous legends involving Jannai Yashiro is the daring heist of Edo Castle. According to the tale, a corrupt official had amassed a fortune by exploiting the common people. Jannai and his group decided to steal this fortune and redistribute it to the poor, much like a Robin Hood situation. Using his knowledge of samurai tactics and strategy, Jannai meticulously planned the heist. Disguised as monks and merchants, his men infiltrated the castle and executed a flawless operation, stealing the treasure without bloodshed. This act not only cemented Jannai's reputation as a folk hero, but also established his group's influence and power. Yashiro's legacy endured long after his death. As the Maki Yako continued to evolve, over time they adopted the name Yakuza, and there is the introduction of the Yakuza, derived from a losing hand in a traditional Japanese card game, symbolising their outsider status. Despite their criminal activities, the Yakuza maintained a code of honour that echoed the principles of Yashiro had instilled: loyalty, respect, and a sense of duty to their communities. So, from the honourable samurai Jannai Yashiro to the feared and revered criminal organisation, the Yakuza's journey is one of adaptation and survival. Yashiro's transformation from a protector of the people to a leader of a burgeoning criminal enterprise highlights the thin line between hero and villain, and how necessity can drive even the most honourable individuals to unexpected paths.